Greetings and peace. I would like to start this with Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Peace be with you and yours. And Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful. Today I wanted to do a presentation by the work of Muhammad Haj Yusuf, who compiled a great study on Ibn Arabi's views on time and cosmology. He explores Ibn Arabi's perspectives on time as it relates to the creation of the cosmos and its connection with the Creator. By comparing this view with modern scientific theories, a new cosmological model is presented, potentially addressing limitations in existing theories. This work by Muhammad Haj Yusuf contributes to a deeper understanding of the world's complexities. And it shows that basically that time and cosmology are central themes in the subjects of philosophy, theology, and physics. And Mr. Yusuf explores the relationship through Ibn Arabi's perspective on the divine origin of the cosmos and ontology, emphasizing time and creation as key metaphysical and philosophical issues, and the concept of al-zaman al-fard and the cyclical nature of time, arguing that time is not the creative origin of space. He also goes into Ibn Arabi's views on time, and also he compares them to what modern science is teaching us and what modern science has discovered, and the parallel comparisons with spirituality and Sufi perspectives from Ibn Arabi. Now the cosmology studies, right? It studies the universe, and time is a fundamental issue in philosophy and cosmology, since these themes are always intertwined with each other. Different views on time have emerged in history, and physicists aim to understand its reality, as it is considered key in modern theories. Early cosmological models from the 12th century are discussed by Mr. Yusuf in this book as the foundation of his argument. Arab scholars and translators introduced Europe to Islamic astronomy, but the Catholic Church labeled critics of the geocentric model as heretics. Copernicus proposed a heliocentric model, which was later supported by Galileo, Kepler, and Newton. Halley and Herschel made discoveries about the motion of the stars. Hubble's redshift observations led to the understanding of an expanding universe. Modern cosmology, dating back to Hubble's work in 1924, reveals a vast universe with galaxies and stars moving in space. The universe has no center or edges, and stars are constantly evolving. The cosmos is still a mystery with unanswered questions like dark matter and the EPR paradox. After the discovery of the Big Bang Theory and the failure of the steady-state model, scientists developed new cosmological models based on relativity, and quantum mechanics. An important theory is quantum cosmology, addressing the universe's initial state using quantum theory and general relativity. Stephen Hawking and James Hartle's no-boundary proposal is a key concept that eliminates these peculiar details in quantum field theory by viewing the world as an eternal existence. Now, Mr. Yusuf explores Ibn Arabi's cosmology, which shows that he sees time as imaginary, that it's a construct of the mind. Ibn Arabi wrote several works on Islamic wisdom, with the most famous being the Al-Futuhat al-Makkiyah and the Fusus al-Hikam, which Sheikh Wahid Azal has done an excellent series on, educational series. He also wrote many lesser works, telling more than 850 attributed books. And of course, Ibn Arabi didn't have an astronomy background, but in his teachings, he does discuss cosmology and planetary motion, with his views challenging modern theories. His unique understanding of creation is detailed in his writings, emphasizing love as the reason for creating the cosmos, that everything in the universe comprises both material and abstract worlds, with the universal intellect and the universal soul playing central roles in creation. An abstract marriage, quote-unquote, between the universal intellect and soul births the universe, with the universal soul having two forces, intellective and active. His views on cosmological theories and issues are complex, and it shows how he views the universe. And he shows that at each level of creation, elements merge in a wedding and birth, as seen in diagrams from his teachings. The universal body precedes the physical world, containing the zodiac and the stars. The pedestal beneath the divine throne leads to the seven gardens and earth. The sun illuminates other planets and stars amid their own light. He distinguishes the apparent geocentric view from the actual motion of planet and stars. He considers the sun central and superior, hinting at a heliocentric perspective. The zodiac and moon's houses are conventions, not exact positions for stars. Time is a complex concept that has been explored in philosophy and science, with questions about its nature, existence, and relation to space. Different perspectives on time include rational and idealistic views, as well as contrasting beliefs from early philosophers such as Plato and Aristotle. Time is seen as both a measure of motion and a construct of the mind, with varying opinions on its beginning and continuity. Ibn Arabi shares some ideas with Aristotle and Plato, but also introduces his unique perspective on time. Ibn Arabi discussed curved time before Einstein. Muslim philosophers analyzed time in relation to the Quran. Avicenna, Ibn Sina, argued for time's existence through motion, while Al-Kindi and Al-Farabi adopted Aristotle and Plato's view on time. Western philosophers like Aquinas and Newton disagreed with Aristotle's circular time concept. St. Augustine and Leibniz also contributed to the debate on the nature of time. Ibn Arabi had a unique concept of time, but it has not been extensively studied. The concept of time has been debated for centuries, with different philosophers offering opposing views on its nature. Newton rejected the idea of time being linked to motion, arguing that it exists independently. Kant believed that time has a Euclid geometry, while Leibniz argued that time is not separate from events. Modern physics theories like quantum field theory and general relativity see time as part of a four-dimensional space continuum. The Big Bang theory suggests that the universe, including time, was created at that moment. The concept of the era of time, where time moves from the future to the past, is related to entropy and irreversible physical processes. Some scientists speculate that about the reversal of the cosmological era of time. The theory of relativity also allows for the possibility of time travel. Travel in physical and psychological time is discussed in this book, considering different aspects such as biological time travel and relativity time travel from a relativity point of view. Various types of time travel, including theoretical cosmology and quantum time, are explored in this book by Mr. Yusuf. Ibn Arabi's views of time as imaginary with natural and paranatural time is also discussed. The concept of discrete time and the cyclical nature of time are explored, along with the idea that events are recreated each day. Ibn Arabi's unique perspectives on time and the cosmos provide a distinct view on the concept of time travel and the continuous of existence. Time is a crucial concept in physics and cosmology, and is also key to human spiritual realization. Ibn Sina argues that time, motion, and space do not have separate existence, but are mere projections of the human imagination. Time does not have real absolute meaning and is relative to something else to describe its state of existence. Ibn Sina believed the true nature of time was a duration taken by the motion of objects. Time is a convention created by humans and does not have a real, separate existence according to Ibn Sina. Ibn Sina's concept of time includes 6 categories: entity, attribute, idafa, relation, time, place, situation, possession, passion, and action. He argues that these perimeters are necessary to describe everything in the world. Time is divided into physical time to describe motion and spiritual time to describe changes in spiritual states. The origin of the world is linked to the existence of the real, who exists by himself and is not temporarily or causally determined by the world's existence, meaning that God, Allah, exists outside of time and space. The world itself exists through the real, and its existence is dependent on the real's existence. Henry Corbin discusses the concept of time in relation to existence and non-existence, emphasizing that existence stems from a determining cause. The world transitions from non-existence into existence, but it is not eternal, as it evolves continually. Corbin also delves into the spiritual and physical aspects of time, showing that it's hard for an individual to grasp the pre-existence of all creation in the world. This book discusses the concept of time according to Islamic theology, stating that existence is dependent on a single, self-existent being. It also mentions the traditional view of scholars questioning the existence of multiple self-existent beings. The book delves into the origin of time and how it is measured, ultimately concluding that the real is the source of existence. And it explains how time is observed in the course of the day and relates it to the existence of nature. Now, Mr. Yusuf, through Ibn Arabi's perspective, discusses the concept of time in relation to space-time, the interconnectedness dimensions of time and space, and the measurements of distance using time, and the theories of high-energy elementary particles and the potential existence of an anti-universe, like those alternate realities and stuff. And also, he touches upon the philosophical implications of motion and the role of matter in causing motion. Motion and rest are two natural states that explain the gradual development of completion in cosmic spheres. Philosophers who believe the mover causes motion assert that motion is created within the object itself, while those who argue for an intermediary cause claim that motion occurs through external means. Time, in Ptolemy's perspective, is a concept influenced by the divine command that impacts events only in the lower realms, as celestial spheres and higher worlds have causes beyond time. Physicists' traditional understanding of motion as depicted in mathematical equations may not fully capture the complexities of motion as it relates to the embodied place. The truth about motion lies in the continuous recreation of objects in different places rather than a simple transfer of objects between locations. Further, the false assumption that objects move through a void raises questions about causality and the relationship between cause and effect. This analysis suggests a new understanding of causality that considers the destination and origin points on the smallest scale of time. In modern physics, atoms exemplify this concept by showcasing the movement of electrons without existing in the space between. Mr. Yusuf, through Ibn Arabi's perspective, discusses the concept of time in Sufism and the theory of relativity, stating that time is curved in modern cosmology. It talks about different realms of being experienced by a person in a single night journey, right? The mirage is that aspect as well that many people look into. And Mr. Yusuf also mentions the idea of time travel leading to encounters with longer real times and more events, providing spiritual realization. And this book describes a high state of awareness where one witnesses the world spatially and temporally, attainable by the people of attention in Sufism. This book discusses the idea that time is a relative concept and has no inherent reality. It explores the notion of psychological time and how we move through it based on internal activities. And it also delves into the impossibility of traveling to the past as it does not go back. As time does not go back, but similar forms can reoccur, like deja vu and everything is recreated daily, from Ibn Arabi's perspective. Now, Mr. Yusuf's concept of time is influenced by Ibn Arabi's spiritual philosophy, and the discrete nature of time is debated throughout history. The perception of time is limited by individual perception, and the concept of divine days reconceptualizes time as a continual creation. And also the discussion is that the concept of time from a philosophical and metaphysical perspective, and it emphasizes the idea of circular and cyclical time. And that is the thing. Time is described as neither discrete nor continuous, serving as a veil that blinds individuals unless they transcend the limitations of the present moment, and how the cyclical nature of time is also compared to the circularity of the world's creation. Time cycles involve repetition of events due to divine names. Cycles last from day to year and end with a new lunar month. The divine names rule events that occur even though identical events do not happen due to the interaction of different divine cycles. Different chapters discuss timing, days, and the cycle of life, predicting weather in the near future using parameters in this book. Ibn Arabi views timing and days as estimations. Timing occurs concerning time, not the actual reality, with the past, present, and future being estimated in a spherical shape. The circles of life involve estimating timing based on the water in a pitcher before it is emptied. Timing and events depend on divine names, which determine what occurs in different cycles. The zodiac constellations help observers distinguish parts of the outermost sphere, rotating with the supposed distinguishing signs. The concept of time involves a lighted planet rising to light the atmosphere and the completion of cycles. Different measurements of time based on motion, duration, and rotation are explored by Mr. Yusuf in this book, highlighting Ibn Arabi's perspective on the relative nature of time. Relationship between stars and zodiac signs and the differences between the sidereal and the normal days are explored, emphasizing the need for accuracy in time measurement based on the isotropic orb. And Ibn Arabi's perspective, Mr. Yusuf discusses the concept of time in an Islamic view, focusing on the differentiation between different units of days based on celestial orbs and divine names. And this book explains the intrinsic and extrinsic motions of celestial orbs and how they affect the perception of time on Earth, and the speed and distance of orbs, which are too vast to be noticed from Earth. The length of a day on different orbs varies based on their size and speed of motion. The isotropic orb has the smallest day due to its natural motion. Larger orbs have longer days, with motion affecting day length. Days can be measured as a half cycle or a full revolution of the isotropic orb. Daytime and nighttime are significant concepts related to the rotations of orbs and the appearance of light. The perception of daytime and night is a result of movement or perception, not both simultaneously. Every orb experiences a day with no daytime and night for itself, but it appears differently to observers on Earth. The rotation of Earth causes the phenomena of daytime and night, with light being constant in the sky, and this scientific fact is widely accepted now. The relation between bodies and spirits in the universe is managed through a specific concept of time. The daytime and night are divided into thirds and serve as a way for God to manifest himself to different entities. The physical world is heated by divine breath, creating a cycle of heat and burning. The manifest world is formed through the divine command, with each individual creature having specific characteristics. The earthly day serves as a measure, a mere convention to understand time. The concept of time is complex and relates to the management of entities rather than personal choice. The connection between past and present is the key to understanding the nature of time. The current state of existence is related to the divine basis, where each day carries a designated task necessary to bring existence into reality. The moment is crucial and distinct, representing a preparedness for the task of the real, and holds significance in determining present time. The eternal nature of time without a beginning or end is a key aspect in understanding the concept of time. Islamic philosophers and theologians have extensively debated the nature of time, hinting at its complexity and significance in the understanding of our existence. The concept of eternity is explored in this book from Ibn Arabi's perspective through the notion of time and the Creator's existence across different realms. And it is suggested that while things with properties manifest from the Creator, his real existence cannot be comprehended by the senses. The book touches upon the curvature of space-time in modern cosmology and the idea of orbs representing separate space-times. The term eternity is used interchangeably to encompass various aspects of existence, ranging from timeless existence to the age of ages. This book discusses Ibn Arabi's concept of time and creation of the world in 7 days, each with unique events orchestrated by Allah. It delves into the importance and the governing and meaning of these 7 days, anchoring them in the Arabic terms for each day. And it explores the significance of the 7-day week across various cultures and religions, emphasizing the universal adoption of this system. The days of the week are named after celestial bodies and have significance in various cultures. Ibn Arabi's cosmology is rooted in the scriptural accounts of divine creation, but also emphasizes monotheism. The 7 days play a crucial role in his cosmology, with the divine attributes of Allah manifesting in human beings. The 4 and 7 are central numbers in his worldview, as they correspond to key elements of creation. The day is divided into smaller units like hours and minutes, but the divine day reflects the manifestations of creation. The smallest unit of time is discussed, with the week considered the main cycle of creation, based on the 7 main attributes of Allah. Ibn Arabi's view gives insight into the theology of creation, with unique perspectives on the week, month, and year, emphasizing the non-integer ratio essential for creation. The differences between observed and divine lunar months and years are explored, highlighting the evolving nature of time cycles. Ibn Arabi views the week as the primary cycle of divine time, with days reflecting fundamental divine attributes, emphasizing the ever-new creation and the uniqueness of each day within the divine week. Ibn Arabi explains the intertwining of divine creation days and human days, with each day corresponding to a fundamental divine attribute, leading to the creation of a living world. He relates the days to the motions of the planets and the attributes of prophets, creating a spiritual hierarchy and linking the events on earth to the heavens. These concepts are integral to his cosmology and astrological symbolism. Ibn Arabi discusses the days of the week and their relation to divine creation, relating each day to a specific attribute of Allah. Sunday, associated with hearing, represents the initial creation of the sun, symbolizing the heart of the world and the heavens. The length of a day is determined by the motion of the isotropic orb, known only to Allah, while the creation of mountains, rivers, and plants occurred on different days. The divine days of creation, distinct from normal witness days, reveal the intricate relationship between the macrocosm and the theomorphic human being. This book discusses the celestial events on the first day, specifically the role of Idris in the creation. It touches on the motions and attributes of different days of the week, connecting them to planets and heavenly spheres. The concept of Friday is highlighted as a special day of gathering, creation, and significance in Islam. Ibn Arabi delves into the deeper meanings and symbolism of these celestial occurrences, connecting them to the divine attributes in the creation of humans. Different religions celebrate different days as the best to commemorate or honor God. Christians see Sunday as the best day, as it marks the beginning of creation, while Jews believe Saturday is best, as it was the day of rest. Muslims see Friday as the best day, as it is the day when human creation began. Ibn Arabi explains that Friday is the best day because it is when the divine form of the real and the form of the perfect human being come together, allowing for the most perfect manifestation of God in creation. He also discusses the importance of Saturn and Saturday in the hierarchy of days. Ibn Arabi discusses the concept of eternity in his works, particularly focusing on Saturday as a day of eternity. He describes Saturday as a day of change and transmutation, connecting the divine and creation. Saturday is associated with rest, creation, and the spiritual journey towards ultimate destination. The seventh day, created through divine speaking, signifies the full cycle of creation and the oneness of being. The paradoxical reality of creation occurring at every moment is highlighted, with human beings having the ability to create through speaking, words or spells. Saturday symbolizes birth and the end of the creative cycle, representing eternity and the eternal state of individuals. This understanding leads to the realization that we are all currently living in the seventh day of creation. This book discusses how Saturday is the day of eternity and how creation occurs continuously throughout every moment. Ibn Arabi explains that the week of creation is symbolic of the creation process, and that all days, including Saturday, occur within the single week of the age. The creation process involves 7 days of events based on the divine attributes, with each day corresponding to a specific manifestation. This book also touches upon the concept of human life being 7 days, with Friday symbolizing the current age of human civilization. Additionally, the symbolism of the day of Jummah, Friday, in relation to human life and creation is explored. Ibn Arabi views the creation of the world as a process involving in specific cosmic days of event, quote-unquote, distinct from our normal days. These days of event are intertwined with our observed days, with night and the day encircling each other, reflecting the divine process of creation. This unique perspective challenges traditional views and offers insight into the interconnectedness nature of time and space. Everything in the world is attributed to daytimes and nights, which are considered the progeny. There is an intertwining relationship between daytimes and nights as they exchange paternal roles. Ibn Arabi explains this relationship graphically in 3 dimensions, indicating a complex structure of space-time. The 7 days mentioned are not just units of time, but also units of space-time. Night and daytime are merged by Allah to create a continuous cycle of existence. This book discusses Ibn Arabi's concept of intertwined days and their relationship with circulated days. He argues that the original days of events are intertwined with the days we observe. This relationship is depicted in tables and figures, showing the distribution of hours over the 7 days of events. The order of creation is linked to the 7 main divine names with a 7-hour step. This complex relationship is challenging to visualize, but highlights the interconnectedness nature of time. This book discusses Ibn Arabi's concept of Ayam al-Shan, stating that the initial motion of time in creation started when a divine quote-unquote foot matched a cosmic quote-unquote day. The orb representing a day had no distinguishing features until Allah created other signs inside it. Each day is a cycle of this orb, determined by a divine attribute. Ibn Arabi describes the actions of the universal soul in each day, and the data presented requires further interpretation from those scholars that are in the fields of cosmology and time and space, and how it interconnects with the themes of religion and philosophy and what we're exploring here. Now, this book discusses the conventional division of time into days and hours, highlighting the importance of the division and understanding divine concepts of time according to Ibn Arabi. Ibn Arabi emphasizes the oneness of being as a key concept in understanding the relationship between existence and creator. Ibn Arabi's views on unicity and multiplicity are unique and distinct from pantheism or monism. He does not deny the distinction between the creator and creations, focusing on understanding the cosmos and its workings. This perspective challenges traditional philosophical and scientific approaches, emphasizing the importance of spiritual insight over logic and observation. While current physics and cosmology theories are powerful, they fail to uncover the ultimate reality behind the world. Ibn Arabi's works bridge the gap between philosophy, science, mysticism, and theology, offering a deeper understanding of the cosmos and its connection to the divine. Ibn Arabi discusses the relationship between the creator and creation, explaining how multiplicity emerges from the oneness of the real. This concept challenges the philosophical maxim that only one thing can come from the one. Ibn Arabi uses the analogy of a circle and its center to illustrate creation by Allah, emphasizing the importance of understanding time in this process. The relationship between oneness and multiplicity is a central theme in his cosmology, with quote-unquote people of Allah having a deeper understanding and perception of this reality. Abdul al-Qadir al-Jazari's commentary adds further insights into the oneness of being and the uniqueness of existence, addressing the apparent contradiction between multiplicity and oneness. The explanation of time and space as containers for existence leads to a deeper understanding of the relationship between the one and the many. Ibn Arabi asserts that every entity in the world has a direct creative relation with Allah, maintaining its existence. He explains that the multiplicity of the world emerges through a single relation between the one and each entity, like Wahdat al-Wujud, the oneness of being. This relation is constantly renewed, indicating a unique divine witness. The concept of time is crucial in understanding the relation between oneness and multiplicity, as Allah performs only one task each day. While Allah's essence cannot be fully known, His attributes and names can be understood through His manifestations. Humans, especially Adam, have the capacity to know Allah through His names. The divine names are countless, but the 99 enumerated ones are the principal. These names refer to the same absolute essence of Allah, conveying different attributes due to His manifestations. And throughout this book, Ibn Arabi emphasizes the unity of Allah despite the multiplicity of His names and creations. Allah's names cannot be described as solely individual or multiple in relation to Him, but rather in relation to creation. Understanding Allah through His countless names reveals that our knowledge of Him is never complete. Everything in the cosmos is a divine name because it serves as a purpose and allows Allah to manifest. Ibn Arabi emphasizes that the names we know are just approximations and reveal only the outward forms, while Allah's true knowledge of Himself is the inner meaning. The metaphysical triplicity in the cosmos, based on the essence, attributes, and actions of Allah, is also reflected in the creation of the universal intellect. The concept of the triplicity is crucial in Ibn Arabi's cosmologies as well as in various ancient religions and philosophies. Ibn Arabi highlights the significance of the number 3 in creating these contingent entities, emphasizing the need for a third principle to bridge the gap between 1 and 2. The perfect human being is the image of Allah, Insan al-Kamil, and the world is the subsequent image of this perfect human being. The fundamental triplicity or trinity of Allah human being world is manifested within each human being as spirit, heart, body. Ibn Arabi discusses the sun, moon, earth symbolism, illustrating creation's relation to the Creator. He emphasizes the oneness of being, dividing existence into categories of absolute existence, absolute non-existence, and absolute possibility. The breath of the All-Merciful bestows existence upon created things, demonstrating the continuous creation process by combining existence and non-existence. The book discusses the divine command and continually creating forms through the breath, explaining the symbolic representation of the world as a mix of light and darkness. Ibn Arabi states that darkness is nothing and light is the real, resulting in the creation of multiplicity from oneness. He emphasizes the non-existence of evil and the ultimate existence of Allah. The mixing of light and darkness in creation is detailed in this book by Mr. Yusuf, highlighting the dependence of all things on Allah. The created world is described as a manifestation of divine names existing through Him. Ibn Arabi's complex ontology is explained through the concepts of absolute existence and non-existence, and the world is described as a reflection of the real. And ultimately, the world exists in a state between existence and non-existence, with everything reflecting the image of the real. Ibn Arabi discusses the distinction between daytime and night as symbols of the universal intellect facing the real and the real facing us in each divine act of creation. He emphasizes the principle of perpetual recreation, where entities gain existence through constant recreation by the real. This principle is rooted in the Quranic verse that each day he is upon some task, from Surah 55, verse 29, and the philosophical maxim, from the one there might proceed only. Ibn Arabi explains the continuously renewed creation of all manifest forms as intrinsic to the existence of things in the world, emphasizing the dependence of created forms on the Creator for their existence. This principle forms the basis of Ibn Arabi's view of the cosmos, highlighting the perpetual needfulness of the world and its entities for the Creator. This book discusses the concept of non-existence in relation to opposites and external forces, arguing that the forms in the world of manifestation cannot remain for longer than a single instant of time. It introduces the idea of the single monad model, where the entire created world is perpetually recreated by a single monad. This model is based on three hypotheses: the single monad, the recreation principle, and the intertwining of observable earthly days with the creation process. Ibn Arabi's language draws from the earlier Kalam theology theories of substances and accidents. In this book, the concept of monad or substance, al-jahar, as a physical or metaphysical entity existing by itself, is explored. The monad may appear through a form, but Ibn Arabi asserts its constant existence compared to the temporal nature of forms. The monad can refer to the essence of the world or to individual entities, all created from the single monad. Confusion may arise between the single monad and the greatest element in Ibn Arabi's writings, but the former is seen as the essence of the perfect human being. The world is viewed as different states of this single entity, emphasizing the unity of being. This book discusses the states of the world and the concept of the single monad. Ibn Arabi describes the single monad as going through the different states to fulfill what Allah entrusted to him. He mentions the name, quote-unquote, everything as an interesting aspect of the single monad theory, suggesting that the single monad is present in everything. Ibn Arabi also explores the structure of the monad and whether it is physical or metaphysical. He highlights the debate among philosophers on this topic and emphasizes that the single monad encompasses all manifestations of creation. And additionally, he discusses the division between embodied and not embodied entities and the essence of souls. Ibn Arabi concludes by stating that the world is one in substance and many in form, emphasizing that there is no transmutation but rather transformation within existing qualities. Within the single monad model, forms and attributes are bestowed upon the monad with generation and corruption processes. The world is continuously being generated and destroyed at every instant, with the monad needing creative formation for existence. Spiritual attributes are continual in the monad, and the monad itself cannot be captured in an image. The greatest element is the substrate of creation, underlying physical monads. Analogies of a building and bricks are used to explain the relation between the manifest world monad and the greatest element. Ibn Arabi mentions subtle links between the first intellect and the greatest element, emphasizing the unity of the element and the multiplicity in the reception of the intellect. Ibn Arabi discusses the greatest element's special attention to the metaphysical realm of writing and recording in his Futuhat al-Makkiyah. He symbolically interprets the Quran in relation to the Kaaba, where the black stone represents the foundational role of the greatest element in creation. Now, the circumambulation, the Kaaba, mirrors the creation of the single monad in 7 days. He also presents a spiritual hierarchy in the cosmos, with celestial beings overseeing cosmic functions. The Arabic alphabet holds a symbolic, metaphysical, and cosmological significance in his teachings. Ibn Arabi discusses the spiritual hierarchy of the prophets and the saints, comparing it to the Arabic alphabet. He emphasizes the importance of the single monad and the greatest element in understanding the metaphysical dimensions of letters. The relation between divine names like Allah and the All-Merciful is explored, as well as the concept of shadows as a guide to Allah. The perfect human being is seen as the primordial shadow of the real, with the manifest world being the shadow of the single monad. The created world exists through Allah's act of spreading the shadow. At every instant, the single monad creates a new shadow in all of creation, making the world a collection of these shadows. The shadow serves as a guide to the sun before and after noon, similar to how the perfect human being guides us to realize our true selves and the real. The seeker seeks the real through the shadows until unity is achieved. Ibn Arabi emphasizes the importance of shadows in creation as existential guides, comparing the world to a movie constantly being created by the universal intellect. The analogy of the world as a movie displayed on a computer monitor accurately reflects the cosmic creation process. The world and the human being work in similar ways, with the world created by the universal intellect's meanings and states and the observer's presence essential for its existence. The perception of the world is ultimately in the mind, according to Ibn Arabi, meaning that time is an imaginary concept. The book discusses the concept of rapid succession of images creating the illusion of motion on a screen, comparing it to Ibn Arabi's views of creation through the single monad, and it explains how the cosmos is continuously renewed through different forms created by the monad, similar to pixels on a computer screen. The process of creation is compared to an electron beam creating pictures on a screen, with each form being worn momentarily and replaced by a new one. Ibn Arabi's cosmological imagery equates creatures to letters and words spoken by the Creator. The book emphasizes the concept of time and creation being intertwined, with each point in space experiencing a combination of different instances of creation. Entities realize themselves on Saturdays, the divine day of manifest creation. Our life is Saturday, observing manifest instances in time while the world is the other 6 days in space. The motion of an electron beams on a screen creates space for viewing, similar to cosmic creation days. The screen scanning process leads to two-dimensional dimensions with implications for spiritual and visible worlds. Testing Ibn Arabi's cosmological model is challenging due to inspiration and divine knowledge. The creation's refresh rate and the smallest quantum of time could be measured if devices could observe non-existence. Now we explore the cyclical nature of time from Ibn Arabi's perspective on how Ibn Arabi emphasizes that creation is an ongoing process, with every moment representing a new act of creation, reflecting the divine nature of existence, and how this recreation of events or déjà vu, the concept of cyclical time, suggests that events are recreated each day, indicating a profound connection between the divine and the temporal world. The original days of events are intertwined with the days we observe, illustrating a complex structure of time that merges cosmic and human experiences. The divine pens on the tablet of what exists speak of the protected existence, with the world as an inscribed book. Ibn Arabi discusses the properties of matter, stating that most properties are related to the perceiver. He also challenges traditional views on the structure of the cosmos. Ibn Arabi delves into the dimensions of the unseen world, suggesting higher dimensions for spiritual beings like angels and jinn. He also introduces the concept of the real, symbolized as a point with 0 dimensions beyond space and time. These ideas are central to understanding Ibn Arabi's worldview on time and cosmology. This book discusses the concept of a hidden center point and a manifest circumference, with each line connecting the two. All things originate from the real in the center and return to him on the circumference. Objects are composed of points similar but with different attributes. The world is a sum of manifestations of divine names, not the real himself. The real continuously manifests in different forms. creating the cosmos point by point. Angels are beings of one dimension made of light, functioning as forces of nature. They are links between godly rules and divine effects. Various angels have different duties and structures, similar to the elementary forces in nature. This book discusses the dimensions of beings, such as the single monad being 1D represented by a line, jinn being 2D, humans being 3D, and the hereafter potentially being 4D. It mentions that angels are 1D and humans relate to different dimensions through their senses. The book also delves into the creation process by the pen and suggests that abstract mathematics may anticipate higher dimensions beyond 4. And the author, Mr. Yusuf, in this book from Ibn Arabi's perspective, also mentions the potential for future computer simulations to test the single monad model based on these dimensions. The redshift of spectral lines of light emitted by stars is proportional to distance, calculating distances accurately. And that is also Ibn Arabi showing the nature of our existence, God's throne, and the unity of being, how the real is existence through all of us, the Wahdat al-Wujud. Ibn Arabi uses the words Zaman and Zaman interchangeably, but with a unique pattern in the Futuhat. Al-Jawhar means the essence, and the Al-Arad is the form of the Al-Jawhar. Al-Makan and Al-Hayyiz are used for space. Al-Makan refers to the places where objects rest. Al-Afrad are spiritual sages outside the circle of the spiritual pole. And Ibn Arabi discusses the creation scenario and the special people of Allah in detail in this book. The world is described as a superhuman where all physical motions are due to the universal soul. The distinction between compulsion and choice is related to symbolism, including daytime and night. The divine week and its 7 days are significant in understanding creation. And basically the concept of who we are and what we stand for, it just basically tells you that there's one being in existence, Allah, the real, who's manifesting through different forms, whether it's the day, the night, the different days, through different entities. So it's all that one point within the circle, and all existence in the universe leads back to that point. Ibn Arabi also views the single monad model as al-Ahad, on how Allah is the one, the truly real, and how the single monad represents the essence of the world and individual entities, all derived from a singular source, Wahdat al-Wujud, the unity of being, where the world is viewed as different states of the single entity, fulfilling divine purposes. And Ibn Arabi's ideas resonate with contemporary concepts in physics, such as quantum mechanics and the behavior of entangled particles. The single monad model provides a theoretical framework for understanding the interconnectedness of all entities, suggesting that observable causes are divine veils obscuring the true nature of creation, thus challenging traditional notions of causality and existence. The model posits that the entire created world is perpetually recreated by the single monad. This continuous process of creation is rooted in the divine command, where entities gain existence through constant renewal, reflecting the Quranic teachings that each day he's upon some task. Now, the whole conclusion and implication can be stated in the following. Ibn Arabi's cosmological framework emphasizes the cyclical nature of time, suggesting that each moment in space experiences various instances of creation which challenge linear perceptions of time. The concept of the world as a movie created by the universal intellect highlights the role of perception in existence, indicating that the observer's presence is essential for the world's reality. Ibn Arabi's ideas resonate with contemporary theories in physics, such as quantum cosmology and string theory, offering a unique perspective that may address limitations in existing scientific models. The integration of spiritual and philosophical views on time, including the notion of divine days, suggests a deeper understanding of existence that transcends conventional scientific interpretations. Now, the exploration of Ibn Arabi's writings, which is over 850 attributed works, invites further investigation into the intersections of metaphysics, cosmology, and modern scientific thought, potentially enriching both fields. And with Ibn Arabi, it's like an ocean of tasawwuf that you are trying to explore. And the education series on the Fusus al-Hikam by Sheikh Wahid Azal explores that as well. So Ibn Arabi is if he's regarded as the greatest sheikh, there is truth to that, because he's an ocean that is just waiting to be explored. And in understanding this, we know thyself, we know our Lord. And when we know our Lord, we know ourself. Thank you for watching. I hope you all benefited. If any questions or comments, please email me at salmansheikh911@gmail.com. All images used were retrieved from public domain searches and are the rightful property of their respective owners. The images used in this video are for the purpose of nonprofit awareness and education, which is protected by the copyright laws of fair use, education purpose. All my videos are for nonprofit and education purposes. Thank you. All rights reserved.